Bell.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Thanks for calling me to speak. And thank you to Audrey Nicholl for lodging tonight's motion on International Women's Day and noting the theme for this year of accelerating action to address the barriers that women face. And one of the barriers that I'd like to speak about this evening is the current postcode lottery of paid maternity leave in the Fire and Rescue Service. And members will be aware I recently laid a motion in Parliament commending the Fire Brigades Union and their campaign titled Fight for 52. And what they're campaigning for is to extend the arrangements for maternity leave to 12 months on full pay across the fire service. At the moment, it's an inconsistent arrangement with different services actually across the UK offering different elements and ranges. And so I would really commend all members here to add their support to that motion. And I'd also like to note the FPU's strong history of campaigning on maternity rights. It didn't begin with this campaign, which they launched a few years ago. Actually, all the way back as far as 1981, they were resisting efforts to reduce maternity leave, pay and rights. And they've continued to campaign and to fight for maternity rights since then, and that has culminated in this important campaign for 52 weeks of mat leave on full pay. And I think it's an important campaign because if we're serious about women in the workplace, and including women in the fire service, then this is an issue that needs to be addressed. And they highlight in their campaign a number of areas of why this campaign is so important. So they talk about the occupational hazards in the workplace and the issue of recruitment, retention and inclusion. So in terms of the occupational hazards, I think members will be well aware of the risks to firefighters, and they may also be aware that the FBU commissioned a report into the risks from contaminants that firefighters face, and Maggie Chapman has been a very strong vocal advocate for this issue in Parliament. And what they found is that, of course, being exposed to these hazards then carries additional risks if you're pregnant. So they found that in one study showed that nearly a quarter of studied US female firefighters' first pregnancies ended in miscarriage, and that was compared to just 10% in the general US population. So there's a suggestion in the research that exposure to these contaminants to pregnant mothers then affects the fetuses and the health of the fetuses. And that continues then after birth while nursing. And the contaminants will also impact through breastfeeding, through the breast milk. So it's important on those grounds that women in the fire service are granted 52 weeks paid maternity leave. And it's also an issue around, as I said, recruitment, retention and inclusion. So women have been working as operational firefighters since the early 1980s. The numbers employed has slowly improved, but they are still a minority. And tackling this issue of maternity leave, paid maternity leave, importantly, would go a long way. The FBU believes, and I believe, in tackling this issue of recruitment, retention and inclusion. So I can see my time's up. 4 minutes goes quick. So to conclude, I'd just like to put to the Minister today, I'm sure she would agree and accept that a lack of maternity provision is a barrier to work, and that includes a barrier to the fire service. And so I would just ask if she would raise this campaign, the FBU's campaign for full pay 52 weeks maternity leave with her shadow cabinet colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you.